coming in this matchup.
We saw Adam Bruce bring that in when he played against Tariq yesterday. It was very good.
Yeah, I mean, Tariq's not going to be killing his creatures, of course. Eric has a lot of ways of, taking care of Tariq's blockers with removal spells, Fire Fist Striker, Legion Loyalist, and so forth. And he does need to be able to turn the corner, win the game very quickly before something like Unflinching Courage gets online. So I think Dyna Charge is worth bringing in here as well.
Other side of things, we see two Reclamation Sage, 2 Arcane Jewel of Thune, 4 Skylasher, Banishing Light, 3 Unflinching Courage, a Boon Satyr, and then 2 copies of Cetessan Tactics. Unflinching Courage, an obvious one here. When I was actually in, Shroud and I were covering the match between Green, White, Rebel Red last time, we both love Unflinching Courage. We both kind of liked Arcane Jewel of Thune. It seems a little expensive for the matchup, though.
Yeah, well, it depends at what you're looking to take out of the deck here. For example, 3 copies of Ajani Call of the Pride, they are not great for the matchup. I don't know. Maybe it's actually too slow, period, now that I'm looking at it.
At 5 mana, so much.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible against a deck with this many copies of Legion Loyalists. I mean, Eric is going up presumably to 4 copies after board here, that some of the Advent of the Worms could leave the deck.
And then, last but certainly not least, 4 copies of Skylasher, which you think of that card as primarily a card that you boarded against Mono Blue Devotion. That's pretty much it. But I actually kind of like lowering the curve here because you got to play some defense.
Lowering the curve is great. Also, any instant speed creature is good potentially against a deck that's bringing both Legion Loyalist and Fire Fist Striker to the table. Those are Eric's best tools in the matchup. So Skylasher can always eat a Legion Loyalist and trade with a Fire Fist Striker. And all Tariq needs is time to deploy his more powerful threats. So anything that blocks is good.
Yeah, just stay alive. That's it.
Just stay alive.
Do not die. Game number 3 will be underway here. The winner of this match has the pleasure and delight to play against Platinum Mage and reigning Rookie of the Year, Jared Betcher.
This is another matchup which I think has changed a lot because of the Goblin Rabble Master.
Yep.
Before I thought this was a little favorable for green-white aggro, my experience playing the matchup, but Rabble Master it's not something they can kill. It's just hang out and play. So it gives you the tools necessary to continue to alpha strike through their defensive board and push to the last couple points.
Actually puts a lot of interesting stress on Selesnya Charm in the matchup. That's like the one way that you can kill the stupid card.
Yeah.
Is with that. Sometimes you want, I don't think the card is so good that it's worth boarding and Banishing Light over, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, I think Banishing Light is fine in the matchup anyway because Fire Fist Striker is a serious problem for green-white aggro.
That's fair. That is completely fair. Both players going to take a look at their openers here. You already see a Voice of Resurgence there for Patel. He's going to draw his hand real slow. One at a time. See what he can find. 3, 4, 5, 6. And one more for Tariq. Find an Unflinching Courage too. That's not a bad hand.
Hard to mulligan this. I know that he wishes his land was not Mana Confluence here, but 2-drop into Unflinching Courage is hard to get away from.
First draw is Banishing Light as well, and English has no 1-drop, which is very, very hard for this deck to do. You have to imagine his hand, it's got to have some follow-ups here. There's Nash Celis, there's a pretty good follow-up. Patel's going to go down to 18.
It's pretty nice in this matchup, a fair number of 2 toughness creatures in Patel's deck that he's interested in blocking with.
There is the Mana Confluence.
A little pump of the fist for Eric.
Yeah. You're probably going to dig yourself 4 with that this game, probably. Here's Fleece Main Line, maybe. Yeah. So here's the thing about Fleece Main Line on this particular turn. I think there's almost no shot you're blocking with it, depending on what happens. So maybe I would deploy Voice that turn instead.
Well, I think it's a more stable Unflinching Courage target.
Yeah,
because Eric's bringing in Magma Sprays.
So, I mean, it's a more stable Unflinching Courage target, but I don't think that things are going to, like, if my plan is to Unflinching Courage this, then I'm not blocking that turn. Because there's too much that can go wrong.
Yeah, I think there's a solid argument for not blocking.
Yeah, like, if he's attacking with 2 Ash Zealots into my Fleece Main line, I don't think he's doing that saying, I'm going to trick you. I think he's saying, like, I have something.
Yeah.
And even if he has nothing, like, I'm more than happy to take the 4 and then just get it back on the next turn.
Yeah, if Tariq already had land number 3 in hand, if he was guaranteed access to Unflinching Courage that turn, I would have just taken the shot.
Yeah.
Because once you have Unflinching Courage on Fleece Main line, the game gets much easier to play.
Yeah, when you have Unflinching Courage on a 5 toughness creature, there's a 4 toughness creature, there's Missing Moors and Stoke.
Yeah.
But on a 5 toughness creature, it's so much more difficult for them to beat. Voice is so much worse in this matchup. And also, you know, if you put Influential Courage on a voice, again, the 4 damage removal spells take care of that. Now here's a Smiter, so that's obviously a pretty good card with Influential Courage as well, but this is a situation as Patel goes down to 14 where if English attacks me, I'm not blocking.
Yeah.
I'll take the 4 damage. Here's an attack. Hit me with your best shot.
But now, when this starts happening, now all of a sudden you have to worry, you know, if Eric brought in Skullcrack, now this is a huge problem because of the pacing of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because of the decision that was made on turn 2.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. Here's another Maka. Now the follow play, it looks like it's going to be a Burning Tree Emissary. There's a Mutavault. Going to activate that, obviously, with the extra mana and just pass the turn back over to Patel. The problem I have with the way the Tariq is playing this game is that you have your best card in your deck in the matchup, and if he ends the game without ever casting Unflinching Courage, he did something wrong.
Well, the bigger issue, there's also the issue of, you know, because of Mana Confluence being your land, the cost of waiting is going up and up as the game progresses.
Yes. He's going to go down to 11 now from Confluence. This is going to be a voice. Pass the turn back over to English, who's going to quickly untap and take a draw here.
Yeah, I think once you are on Unflinching Courage, I know, you know, you want to devour these pump spells that Eric presumably has in his hand, but you just have to get Unflinching Courage on your Fleece main line as the first order of business.
Looks like it's going to be a Tactics here. We're going to block first. Maybe, not sure.
Yeah, now we're in a spot where it's possible, even if this test and tactics goes fine, that Tariq puts Unflinching Courage on his voice and cannot attack.
Yeah, it's too slow. You're not going to get enough life back.
Yeah.
Tactics is going to win. There's a Mutavault. But Tariq is at 5. Manic Influence was the draw.
And in fact, that's exactly what happens here, because if he puts Unflinching Courage on the voice, he takes a point, goes to 4, up to 8, and there's 8 on the way back.
Yeah. Yeah, this all kind of stems from a decision that took place on the second turn of the game.
Yeah, no, there's serious cascading consequences for this sort of stuff. It's why when people, you know, especially Eternal and format enthusiasts say, you know, standards of format, no skill, no decisions, it's just not true.
Yeah.
A lot of it's going on the board rather than people's hands, but there's a lot going on in these games.
And Confluence has already dealt 3 points of damage. This is going to be the 4th one.
Yeah.
So now Patel's going to go down to 4. Pass the turn back over to English. English is going to draw a card now. Don't have a great look at his hand, but as you see, that voice can't attack, at least at this point.
And right now, Eric cannot attack unless he has something else going on here.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have a great look at Eric's hand. Looks like there's just a Rakdos Cackler and a Mountain. But there are no good attacks to be had here. Whatever gets blocked puts Patel up to 8 and then down to 2.
Well, there's an argument that attacking is still profitable. You lose a creature for 2 points of damage.
Okay.
It's not lethal, but it still may be correct for Eric to send an attack here.
All right, I can get behind that. Yep, looks like he's going to fire up. Coming here with everybody. You see the Ashell kind of off to the side because he knows that's the one that's going to die, or most likely to die. But this does force in 2 points of damage. And obviously, if you're Tariq, you're blocking. You just have to figure out which one you're blocking.
Yeah. It's all kind of the same stuff here. Probably on the side of blocking, I guess Mutavault makes the most sense. He's redundant, so you might as well get rid of a land here.
I think the one creature I don't want to block is Burning Emissary because I draw Soldier of the Pantheon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Follow-up play is Rakdos Cackler, trigger, pass. So let's see if Patel's able to draw this turn. He's sitting at a very low 2 life. Draws a plains finally.
Huge draw.
Yeah.
Huge draw.
He's got a couple copies of Selesnya Charm in his hand. The one thing about the green-white deck is the mana is not the best. Has to play 4 copies of Mana Confluence. Heavy reliance on Temple Garden as well. Hasn't drawn one of those this game, but that basic plains is a pretty big deal at this point.
This would also be not a bad spot for Eric to draw a Dino Charge if he's sideboarded it.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, forgot about that. You played that one with the Pro Tour, right?
I did.
Dino Charge in your Pro Tour Dragons mainstay?
I did.
Aggressive.
Play one way.
Looks like Tariq may be casting the Banishing Light this turn. Yep. Gonna take down the old Ash Zealot. Can't really afford to attack, though, again. A Lifelinker, imagine, has to stay back on defense because he goes up to 6 and he's facing 6 on the way back. Now, yes, he does have a Selesnya Charm as a blocker, but if Eric English draws, anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tariq is trying to trap him here, trying to induce an Alpha Strike where he gets to eat something, stay alive, untap, then crack in, have a pretty stable board.
All right, Eric English, you can end the game right now if you draw a burn spell. Didn't get a great look at his draw. He's going to play the mountain right now, though. There's a Legion Loyalist.
Oh, and this
is a disaster.
Well, sort of.
I guess he can Selesnya trying to make his guy 6/6.
Yes.
He takes 1 to do
No, he can't. It doesn't work anymore because Legion Loyalist gives his team first strike.
Ah, right. So he dies before lifelink even happens.
Right, and he cannot make a token to block because Legion Loyalist shuts that down. So I think this is lethal.
That's almost certainly lethal. Right? Because Voice never gets to gain life because everybody has first strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first strike damage is going to happen before anything. So Tariq can think about this for a while, but Legion Loyalist is actually a great top deck, one I hadn't even considered in this situation. The trample and everything doesn't matter as Tariq is going to go down to 1 here to play a Selesnya Charm, which, I mean, that creature can't even block anyways. That doesn't even really matter.
Good old Legion Loyalist, you weirdo.
Yeah. Just random text over there. And Eric English is going to win this match, and he is moving on to the finals to play against Rookie of the Year, Jared Betcher.